Brought to you by Southern Trust Home Services, 540-208-3425. Get into a Southern state of mind. And the camera's gone. Hey, I'm meteorologist J.B. Singleton. We won't do the full screen. It's God's way of telling me, don't do it. You're not up to it today. Your face does not need to be full screen today. I want to talk about the weekend forecast because we are looking at, I think, a lot of rain coming up. And even though you look at this cone from the National Hurricane Center, by the way, this is potential tropical cyclone 16. Doesn't have a name yet. If it gets a name, it'll be Nestor. But they do this so they can issue, like right now they've got in the blue areas, tropical storm warnings in effect. So they can go ahead and they can put out these tropical storm warnings and what have you in advance of it getting a name. So they have potential tropical cyclone 16 with winds of, let's see, 40 miles an hour. It's moving northeast at 21, so it's a fast mover. But if you were to look at the cone of this, you'd say, okay, this is going to miss us. Primarily, we're just going to get some light rain from it, the outer effects, because it does take it into southern Georgia. And this is as early afternoon tomorrow. So by tonight, some tropical storm force conditions will be up and down the panhandle of Florida. And then by early Sunday morning in the eastern South Carolina and then going out into the Atlantic Ocean here, you can see that it turns a little bit farther east. I don't think that's going to happen though for our area. Let me show you a little bit of my thinking on that. First, you've got a humongous system with it not being very organized. It's just a big blob of moisture here. And this thing really blew up overnight last night. So if there is a center, it may still be down here across the Gulf of Mexico. But what we do know is the pattern is very active in the jet stream because it's fall. We get a lot of these setups where the jet stream can go into a favorable pattern for storms moving up the coast and developing, like we just had a couple of days ago. We had that soaker that moved through the area. We've got another storm system now that'll be digging down by next Tuesday in the western part of the country. You can see off to the Southern Trust logo here, there's some energy out here. So there's nothing really to pull this thing into the ocean, even though you can follow the cirrus out into the Atlantic. You've actually got high pressure up here across the northeast, including in our area today. It's going to keep it very sunny and very nice. So I don't see this going east. I see it going up the coast, but I see a fair amount of moisture falling in our area. You can see that this is a very broad area of moisture here, and it's going beyond what the radar sees. So, you know, even if the system were to get a name, it doesn't matter. It never matters for us. If you've got tropical moisture in the Gulf of Mexico and the jet stream pattern is somewhat favorable, it's not turning out to sea like it is now, that moisture 9 times out of 10 is going to find its way into our area. And that's what I think will happen for us, especially Saturday night, mainly because what you're seeing right now in Mobile and New Orleans, you can see a little bit of a hint of that northward progression there. So let me show you the latest. There's the track from the Hurricane Center. But if you were to look at the NAM model, this is coming in overnight last night, and put this into motion going into tomorrow afternoon. By late afternoon tomorrow, some lighter rain moves in from North Carolina. You can see that we've got a hint of a circulation down here across Georgia. Now, again, that's irrelevant whether or not it gets circulation for us. We're going to see a lot of rain from this tugged north by the jet stream. And you can start to see that rainfield, that heavier rainfield gets kind of spread out a little bit as we go into Saturday night. So let me back this back up. This is 8 o'clock tomorrow evening. And then after sunset into the early morning hours of Sunday, it is pouring down rain. You got to keep in mind, this is tropical moisture. This is not just rain like we had the other day. This is going to be tropical moisture that'll be raining it up to probably 2 inches an hour, I would imagine. Some areas are going to really get a lot of rain out of this and may even see some flood problems despite the drought, because it's just going to fall that heavy. I'm not overly concerned with flooding because it's a drought that we're still into, and it's a fast mover. This is out of here by Sunday afternoon. It's actually out of here by lunchtime Sunday. So it's only hanging around for maybe 12 hours or so, but it's going to rain really hard, and I don't see the heaviest rain along the coast. I agree with Anam here. I think it's further inland, and if you actually look at some of the averaged blend of some of the short-term resolutions here, you can see that you've got, this is Roanoke right here at 2.13 inches of rain, 3.42 inches of rain is what this blend of all the different ensembles is showing going into Bedford County and Franklin County. This is, again, primarily Saturday night, all the way up against the Blue Ridge Parkway. That's typical of what we see this time of the year when we get a system coming out of the Gulf of Mexico. And now we're going to switch over to another blend of all the models, and you can see upwards of 4.5 inches of rain here in the Burgundy. So, you know, if you get that over 6 hours, that's going to cause some flooding issues out there, drought or no drought. Sometimes you can also get conditions that are so dry the rain just runs off and creates flash flooding potential. So this is, again, coming up for Saturday night. I think the biggest threat will be after 8 o'clock p.m. and especially between midnight and 6 a.m. Sunday. That's when you're going to have to watch for flooding and some very heavy rainfall, because, again, this is coming out of the tropics. This is showing you the jet stream. This is the NAO. When you get it down here in the negatives, it kind of favors storm development, and I think that's going to keep our jet stream very active and help keep this in our area producing a fair amount of rainfall. So we'll watch that for you very carefully, but I just wanted to jump on here this morning and just kind of show you that I do think we're getting a lot of rain out of this. I'd say 1 to 3 inches of rain is a pretty good bet. But looking at this, you know, it's hard to say that we may not get local areas of 4.5 inches of rain even from this. So I wouldn't buy into just a light event. Even in the mountainous areas, I would keep my eye open. You always have to watch tropical systems this time of the year to see what they can produce, because they have enormous capability to produce very heavy rain if they can track over the right areas. Now, this could still change. This could shift farther east and indeed go up the coast, but that is my thinking for right now. I will continue to update you as needed. This is brought to you by Southern Trust Home Services at 540-208-3425. By the way, if you're going to any high school football games tonight, bundle up. No rain, but it's going to be cold. It's going to get cold fast. It'll be around 65 today. As soon as the sun sets tonight, you want to have those coats ready and the gloves ready, because temperatures are going to tank. It will probably end up in the 40s for some of these football games tonight. That's cold weather. That's hot chocolate weather. And then for overnight lows, will probably be back down into the 30s with maybe some patchy frost before the clouds move in ahead of our tropical system, or subtropical system, coming up for Saturday evening. Have a good weekend. I'll have more updates on the potential for some heavy rain coming up for Saturday night.